I'm Ramona from Nite Jewel, and we're here in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest, and you're watching On Point TV. The release on Italians Do It Better, the first 12-inch, the What Did He Say? The What Did He Say 12-inch? I wonder if he's gonna keep barking. It's okay, sweetie. Don't worry, we're fine. You can go back to doing what you were doing. It's okay. But the first release on Italians Do It Better, with the What Did He Say Let's Go 12-inch, that was the first release I ever had. So that was like the first thing that ever happened. Before that, I was just recording all these different like 8-track songs and putting them on CDRs and like selling them to people online through PayPal and like giving them to different record stores. I just was confused by the whole thing. I mean, to me, like, I didn't really see what they saw in it necessarily, because they're such like a disco label and they do things like really sort of streamlined and really nice production value. It's just kind of a wild card what they're doing, you know. I wonder if their fans are even gonna like it, you know. And then shortly after that, because of the attention we got from that 12-inch, my friend and I decided to release the full-length album Good Evening on his label that we sort of do together a little bit. I was like making these CDRs for people, you know, and then my friend who ended up releasing my 12-inch, my friend Jason Dara, who runs Gloriette Records, he started playing this CD for tons of his record head friends, like, listen to this shit, it's so good, so good. Then one of his friends was like, oh, that sounds like Glass Candy. And he was like, what's that? I was like, what's that? And then played it for us, and I was like, really? Sounds like that? I guess so. And so then I wrote to Glass Candy online, and I was like, hey guys, some people say that our music is similar. And then he just started listening to the tracks, and I guess he felt the same way. So I didn't even know anything about Italo disco, honestly, before I was introduced to it, like around that time. Like, I listened to disco, like I knew about dance music, you know, like stuff that was released when I was a kid, like in the early 90s and in the 80s, mostly like American music, stuff like La Bouche and all this kind of thing. Like, I knew about that because that was on the radio when I was a kid, but Italo disco was like something that was not a part of on my radar when I was like younger. So it actually became something I was aware of only after I had recorded all of those songs. I think it just naturally came out of me somehow. I don't know why. It's weird. It's like I listen now to a lot of friends. A lot of friends give me like these like really oddball Italo disco stuff, and you know, my friend Eddie Roche, he does this thing called Secret Circuit. And he'll always send me like Baldelli mixes and different remixes he's done of Italo disco stuff. And I'm like, man, this is so dope. But like, I just didn't know it existed until recently, you know? But I do connect with it. It's amazing music. I mean, I got this synth and I got these drum machines, and every way I had made music before just like didn't really fit. It was like I was playing bass, I was you know, trying to record with a full band, trying to do like psych, trying to do like rock and roll, and everything I was doing just sort of felt like pretentious, like I didn't really like connect with it fully. And then you know, once I started like doing it on my own and just like, you know, playing along to my piano, synthesizer, singing a little bit with a drum machine, I was like, yeah. And I mean, I've been influenced by dance music and R&B and hip hop for a long time, so I think it's just like these weird blends of influences that I grew up with, like folk music and rock and roll and hip hop and all these different things. They just sort of all came together. I mean, the one thing is I was listening to like different sort of like UK 80s disco stuff, like imitations of American disco that are just like a little bit weird, and also like freestyle a little bit, like out of New York and things like this. So I knew about those women, you know, who would sing, and I knew about like, you know, like my dad would have me listen to like divas when I was a kid, like Whitney Houston, Gloria Estefan, all these people. But disco I was not super familiar with it, honestly. Back then, during the Italians era, I used an 8-track cassette recorder by Tascam, some external mixers, and that's it, and cassettes. My same friend who put out my LP, Good Evening, he sent me in the mail an 8-track cassette recorder because he was like telling like me and my husband Cole, who we were in a band together, he's like, this is how you guys should record. You should record on this. Like, I feel like this will work for you. And it ended up really working for me because it's very simple, and I don't do well with like digital programs very well. I can use them, but I'm just like sort of confused a lot of the time. So my friend just sent it to me and I just started using it. It's like that simple. I then moved on to using like Logic, little like other weird digital programs like Digital Performer and stuff like that. Now I'm using a combination of Pro Tools, Logic. I record like, you know, in studios with like tape machines, and I'm like sort of moving on up in terms of like the fidelity and production value. But the first album was all on cassette. I started taking piano and singing at like 5 years old in Berkeley with Bobby McFerrin. Bobby McFerrin's vocalist, one of his vocalists in his group, taught piano and voice, and I started taking lessons with her throughout my life, like until I was like 11 or 12. I've had various other teachers teaching me like jazz piano. I've sang in gospel choirs and regular choirs and been in jazz combos, like all this kind of stuff, like always trying to find a way to like express myself, you know, in some way or another, sing, like really wanting to sing. But it never felt as right as it has felt doing it on my own, you know. Some songs I will it'll come to me in my head, like in the car or when I'm walking around or when I'm, you know, sitting on a bench somewhere, and I'll try frantically to like record it on my phone or write down some lyrics or something like that. That happens a lot actually, and then I'll go home and I'll try to like record the idea. Other times, like, I'll just be at home messing around, making beats, you know, on Logic or whatever, writing bass lines, singing along. I try to write like a little bit every day. I throw away a lot of songs. I mean, not throw away, but I only pursue the songs that I know have potential, and usually I can tell they have potential because Cole will come home from work or whatever, and he'll listen to it and he'll be like, I don't know what this is, or he'll be like, this is awesome, and then we'll start developing it together. Certain songs can seem really like aimless, or like they're not really getting somewhere, like you have an idea but you're not working hard enough to really put it out there. The best songs are the songs that you just like, you have this initial idea and you see the future for it immediately. Like you see the whole product in your mind. Like it's gonna sound like this, the bass line's gonna sound like this. Each release is like very different, I feel like. So I think that like we appeal to lots of different kinds of people, and I don't think there's like a unified group. And to me that's like one of the most important things for me, because I feel like I want to appeal to the most diverse group of people possible. All ages, races, gender, whatever, because that is like the power of music. There's too many times that bands just work to appeal to a certain demographic because they know it will like be successful. And I think that that's just like sort of playing it real easy, you know? I just wanna like write music that like when I heard it, I knew that anybody would like it, like any person out there, you know?
On point.